This is Marcus Corval with Studio MMA and MMA Nut, and we're here with the CEO of Strikeforce and founder, Scott Coker. How excited are you for Saturday's matchup?
I'll tell you, very excited. And I think that when you look at the card across the board, top to bottom, we're going to have some action-packed fights, and I think we're going to have some upsets. I don't want to say who because, I don't want to jinx anybody, but, in MMA, you never know what can happen. And things are very fast, very explosive. So I think that it's going to be exciting fights, and people should tune in.
You believe there's going to be some upsets on Saturday night?
I do, and I can't say because I don't want to jinx anybody.
Right.
But I do believe there's going to be some upsets in this fight. Yeah.
You've not just this card, but for many cards, Strikeforce has done a great job matching people up and fighters, and for some of the most exciting fights. Obviously it's part of what you guys do, but what is it that? Who has been the man behind or woman behind the driving force of putting together such exciting fights? Or has it just, did you sometimes not know how exciting the fights were going to be?
I mean, sometimes you don't know. But I had a great group of guys and one lady that really helped out with Strikeforce before the merger with UFC or the purchase of Strikeforce from the UFC. And, Bob Cook was instrumental as a consultant because, he knows the sport inside and out. Rich was there, Shannon was there, myself. We would sit down and the four of us would map out, the fights. And now we have Sean Shelby, who's been in the business, a long time. And so he's the matchmaker of the fights. And, he's done a great job. But at the end of the day, I think that you have to look at the athletes. And the athletes that we've decided to sign are fight guys that bring it. We're not looking for fighters to just lay on each other and, wait for the round to get over. We want fighters that are going to bring it. They make the fights exciting. And ultimately, we want the fans to have great fights, and we want the network to have good ratings, and we want, exciting athletes.
Over the years, which one was your favorite fight yourself?
I'll tell you, there's been so many, actually, and I was just thinking about this when I was on the conference call today. If you look at the history of Strikeforce and how many great fights we put on, a lot of people don't remember this because we didn't have a TV deal back in '06, but, Frank fought for us, obviously. He was one of the cornerstones of Strikeforce. And then, I think Josh Gilbert's fights were exciting.
Yes.
The Cyborg, Carano fight, the electricity in that building was unlike anything I've ever seen. And I think the fight for me personally was the Shamrock versus Kung Lee fight, because we had 15,000 people. Half of the building was for Kung, half of the building was for Frank. So when they walked out, it was electric, and Kung was the underdog in that fight. And so the way it worked out, and with Kung winning, the fans went nuts. But that when you walked into that building that day, you knew you were in for a real treat, and that was a real treat of a fight.
Absolutely, I watched it myself. Great fight, and as you said, it was the home, it was the backyard for both of the guys, and an exciting fight. So there's been an extension to the contract with Showtime.
Yes.
What does it mean for Strikeforce? What does it mean for the fighters? What does it mean for you and the UFC?
Boy, I tell you, personally, it's like, I feel like as a founder, I'm so happy that it's continuing, and I want to thank Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta. I want to thank Showtime, Mr. Steven Espinoza and Mr. Matt Blank, for making it happen, because now I get to see all the hard work and all the effort of trying to contribute to MMA and help MMA grow continue. And so, I know there's a lot of details and this and that, but, at the end of the day, it worked out. I'm excited. I think the fighters are now going to have another platform. The fans of Strikeforce are going to continue to see great mixed martial arts fights. And, the fighters are going to be having a good platform to continue fighting on. So, you know what? I think the fans are going to be happy. The network's going to be happy. Us as a company's going to be happy. And I think the fans are going to get everything that they've already, gotten over the last 3 years.
So when something like this happens, when it comes to, finding a way and an extension to a deal, have you guys kept it a little bit of a secret for an announcement? Because there's been obviously a lot of rumors. There's been, even among the fighters, a lot of fighters being worried, not being sure themselves what's going to happen with their employment, so to speak. Is it something that was difficult? Did you guys yourselves not see a solution for a while, or has it just been kind of promotion-wise something that you kept back in order to be able to announce it?
Well, the negotiations were ongoing, and I think the deal actually got signed in the last 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So it's that recent. This happened like now. So we're happy to announce it. Just happens to be at our press conference today with all the guys here for the fight Saturday. But this thing went down in the last 24 hours, and like I said, I'm excited, and I can't wait to put on these amazing fights and let the fans check it out.
What does that mean for the heavyweight tournament when it comes to the finals, obviously between Daniel Cormier and Josh Barnett?
That fight will happen. Hopefully, it'll happen within the first quarter. Again, we're just waiting for Daniel's hand to be fully ready, which I think it will be. So you can count on that fight happening at the end of the first quarter. And then we'll do one more fight with the winner and another heavyweight contender, or like somebody that's a top heavyweight. And then we're going to go back and focus on the lighter weights that we have good depth in, and put on more great events.
Last question for you: with Strikeforce challenges, Strikeforce, UFC, the format. Some Strikeforce fights going to the UFC, so the challenges moving up to Strikeforce. It's great. It's absolutely great. But is it going to be a system to it, or is it just going to be right? We got a spot to fill. Let's get this guy in.
It's going to be a case by case basis, and the undercards of all these fights now will have a television platform, right? And Showtime is going to be promoting it and pushing it, and I love that about this deal, because that's where we find our new stars. Right. I mean, if you look at what Strikeforce Challengers did, Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, Tyrone Woodley, yes. Tim Kennedy. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Yeah, right? Misha Tate. So it's the breeding ground for the new guys, and to me, that's the beauty of this deal.
And with the 125 weight class being announced for the UFC, is that something we're going to see in Strikeforce as well?
Not at this time.
Not at this time?
No, not at this time.
Scott, thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to seeing the fights on Saturday, and 2012, a lot more fights with both Showtime and Strikeforce.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.